Hello and welcome to tonight's show.
And hello and welcome to episode 213 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, Tony Jacob. You too can help support the show just like Tony. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month. All of our financial Patreon supporters get a wonderful OTB sticker and, of course, go into the draw for the fantastic Patreon Wheel of Fortune. We appreciate all of our Patreon supporters as they help us with our hosting and production costs. Got a great show lined up for you guys, but before we get started, let's have a word from our wonderful sponsor, Scott from the Scale Model Supply.
Hi, I'm Scott, the creator and owner of the Scale Modeler Supply, Australia's largest manufacturer of hobby paints. Our premium airbrush-ready acrylic lacquer paints are designed specifically for use on plastics, with a comprehensive range covering all popular modelling subjects including military, aircraft, rail, auto, sci-fi and more. And not only that, but we also have a wide selection of essential hobby tools and now, infinite colour, and new range of water-based paints for miniatures. So to check out our range and to find your closest retailer, please visit our website at scalemodeler.com.au. So when quality matters, choose SMS Paints.
And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day everyone else in Radio Land.
And of course Julian.
Good morning.
Hey, shouldn't it be podcast land, not radio land?
Oh, I don't know. I'll call it Radio Land. We're on the airwaves, man.
What a fortnight. Oh my giddy aunt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's been sick.
I have. I had my birthday.
Yes, that's right. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you got sickness as a present.
Yes, the next day I got sick. Come on, man.
I was just joking when I said that. I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know the timetable.
No, the next day. It was just... Anyway.
Good for you.
Well, at least you're over it now, mostly.
I am. I'm just in that awkward phase where it's just, your nose is running like a tap and you sound like a really bad sort of... no, I better not say that word.
Okay. Don't say it then.
No, I was going to say, no, I won't.
Yeah,
my voice is really weird, so...
Yeah, you've gone over the worst part and now you're just dealing with the after effects.
Very true.
So Ian, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Done a bit more work on the hull of the Emden.
Bacon Bits is absolutely
Oh,
ripping you a new one.
No, he's not ripping me a new one. He's just spending more time on his at the moment.
The speed of his build is phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's ripping you a new one for sure.
Oh, it was never a race.
No.
I knew it was never going to be a race. So,
Yeah, you're going to have it ready for Canberra, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried something new, which I've never done before.
Right.
Because the hull, there's the back section of the hull, I think we discussed last time with him, there's like an insert. So you can do either the Emden or another ship, because the other ship had 4 props where the Emden had 2.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And it's a shitty fit.
All right.
So, and being on a hull, it's like, I really don't want to get any like shrinkage of me putty or anything like that. So I've decided to go down the track of actually using sprue, stretch sprue,
Oh, okay.
to fill all my gaps.
Yeah.
So so that's today. I see if that worked.
You won't
Today
find
I
out if
said-
it's worked for another month.
Oh no, I'll find
No,
out,
that should be straight away. It's fairly instantaneous.
It's sprue. It's not going to shrink.
You say it's not going to shrink, but you've introduced... Wait, so there's no glue involved?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. I just
There'll be no shrinkage because it's styrene.
it's exactly the same styrene
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
kit's
that's
made of.
not why. It's the glue aspect.
What to me are extra thin.
Yeah, because like that's usually what makes you unstuck. is the glue.
Right.
Because the more involved it is with the glue, the more it'll feel solid. It's like the sprue glue type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sprue glue takes forever to go off. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah, I didn't use sprue glue.
Yeah.
No.
Me neither.
No.
Like, it's okay if I know that I'm just gonna set it aside for a long time. A long time. But it takes forever. Like, you think it's solid, and that's how you end up with ghost seams and things like that.
Yeah, that's why I was using stretch sprue.
Okay. Well,
which I think hopefully it should work well. It actually went really well because I found that one of the inserts, the hull deck panel lines, or the hull panel lines or plating lines, didn't quite match up. So I filled them in with stretch sprue, so I can sand them flat, which makes it a lot easier to rescribe.
Well, my way's probably more expensive than your way, but when I'm building like rockets, for example, and I've got a seam that I can't get rid of, I've got a little tool that'll cut like a V channel in the seam, and then I'll lay in some evergreen rod.
Yep.
And then just glue it in that way, and then just sand it back. And
you don't see anything.
Yeah.
Because it's plastic on plastic.
Yeah,
There's
exactly
no
right.
putty, there's no shrinkage.
Yeah. And the only reason I do that is because I'm lazy and I couldn't be bothered, getting out a candle and sort of stretching sprue, and I have issues with getting the consistency of the sprue stretched, and it stinks, and
No.
nah.
It's because you're letting it burn.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, plus Bacon Bits sent me a little care package with lots of little goodies.
What did he now?
Some little extras I can use,
Ah.
including Maxim guns, which are nearly impossible to find in 1/350 scale. A really nice 3D printed crest,
Ooh.
which looks really good. Plus all like doors and hatches and bollards and all
Are you
sorts
going
of
to
goodies.
weather yours, or are you going to do it museum quality build?
Well, it's mainly getting built for the Canberra show.
Yep.
For when Bacon Bits and myself have that bit of a talk on building model ships. So I'm actually considering...
Hashtag 1025.
Yep. So I'm actually considering not painting it at all.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
So people can actually see what you've done.
What's all happened.
I like that idea. I really do.
So not to say I'll never paint it,
Yeah.
but for the time being,
Yeah.
if I can wrangle it, that I can maybe glue some bits on with some white glue so they can be removed later.
Well, here's the thought. So leave all your superstructure off, but complete it, and because Gray will have all the other stuff done, won't he? So he'll have his fully built and painted, and so for the guys who are coming to the talk, they can see the different sort of stages of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's building one out of box too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can see what the basic kit looks like compared to what you can do with
Yeah.
a bit of elbow grease and spending a buttload of money.
Very cool. Have you bought anything? Any new kits? Nothing.
Not for the fortnight. It's been pretty sad.
Oh, well.
Still waiting for me Cerberus to show up from the States. Haven't heard anything about that yet. Bit worrying.
No, it'll get here. What about you, Julian?
No new purchases. Nothing except tools to fix my car.
Your real car.
My real car, yeah.
Real car.
As for working on models, I haven't done a whole lot, but I did give that thing a go that I mentioned previously, where I got the Tamiya enamel silver, and I was going to use it as kind of like a panel liner inside the window frames.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it worked out. Worked out pretty well. I had to do a bit of cleaning up, with like you would, for any panel line type work, just to keep it inside the lines. But yeah, other than that,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it worked out pretty well. Pretty happy with it. So I just need to, I might give the bodywork another wash under the sink tap, and then because it's got some weird sort of marks on it and stuff like that. I'm not sure where that came from, so I'm not sure. I'll just give it a rinse and see if I can get it off that way.
Yep.
And then I should be able to put glazing on, and then it should all start going together for the most part.
Nice.
Very good.
Very cool. What about you, Dave?
Well, I finished that 1/44 scale Airfix Saturn rocket for that guy. So he came and picked it up, and he was wrapped with it. He reckoned it was awesome, and he goes, "Oh my God, it's taking me right back to my childhood and all that." So I was very pleased. Oh, dog of a kit! Oh my God! And I almost hesitated giving it back to him because I could see the faults in it, but he didn't. He just loved it. So he was really wrapped, and so,
Well, there's a difference between a trained eye and an untrained eye, right?
yeah, exactly right.
Very
So so he was happy as Larry. I'm working on it's a Luft 46 thing where it's a V2 converted to a fighter, or like a man's
V2 or V1?
V2.
V2, the black and white rocket.
Yeah, it's got a man in it, so it's converted to a man sort of.
Guided
it's got,
bomb.
It's got wings on it and everything. So actually, I don't know why they made it. I haven't even looked into it or why they thought of it. But anyway, it'll go nicely in my rocket collection. So I'm nearly finished the construction side of that, and there was a Easter sale on with one of our local hobby shops. So I went online and purchased a 72nd scale Firebee BQM, which is a target drone, and also something which I haven't had for at all, and it's a V1 in 72nd scale. And this is a model collect kit, and it comes with the launching rail, which is really, really long. And just before the show, I was talking to Ian about maybe not doing the full.
You got to do
rail.
the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's how it sits in your display case and having the room to do it. So I might not do it.
But have a pretty low profile, so you'd be able to stick it in front.
How long is the ramp?
That's what
it's
we're trying
long.
to figure out. It looks pretty long.
It's about 4-5 times the length of the actual V2. And the V2 is probably about 8 centimeters. So it's going to be
80
good size.
8 centimeters.
Okay, so
It'll be long.
what's that? 40 centimeters, something?
Yeah, something like that. So anyway.
Look good.
So that's sort of all I've got on my bench at the moment, apart from some other stalled projects that are sitting there. But I'll talk about them later because we've got an interesting voicemail in, which
Cool.
we need to sort of have a chat about. So
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
yeah, it does. So that all being said, how about we dive into our mail?
Yep.
Because we got quite a bit in.
Oh, do we?
We do indeed.
Yeah.
So let me start. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start off with the voicemail message first. That's the easiest way, so we'll do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's just play it.
Hey, Dave, Ian and Julian. Just got a quick question regarding modelling burnout. What tips or strategies do you guys recommend to basically prevent getting halfway through a project or 3/4 towards the end and then just completely fizzing out or becoming sick of the particular project? How do you keep it fresh and with full effort all the way to the end of the build without getting distracted or sidelined? Be great to hear your thoughts. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tom, for dropping us a voicemail. So, guys.
Well, I'm the worst person to ask that.
You are?
I am, especially these days. I have a bad habit that when I just get sick of a model, I just put it back in the box, start something else until I get back into it, get the
That's
the juices flowing again.
That's a pretty good method, but
I've done that with a few kits.
I also know that if I were to do that, I probably wouldn't touch it again.
I have a couple of
Like,
projects
once I
like that
close-
I've put aside and never touched again.
Yeah. Well, like sometimes once you close the book, that's it. You know, you're not reopening that book. I used to have this problem when I used to build like aircraft and armor. I don't have it anymore for cars for whatever reason. I think with cars they tend, like, for example, there are high points in a model build. Parts you really get stuck into, and then there's parts you don't really like, and those parts can drag on.
Yes.
But with car models, I find that there's all the paint work. You do your painting and your polishing and all that sort of stuff, and you can get that out right at the start. And the rest of it is pretty basic. It's like, oh yeah, just shoot those seats black, paint that steering wheel brown and silver or whatever it is, and then those aspects. maybe there might be some aspects in like sort of the tail lights and the grill or something, those sort of details that can hold me up a little bit. But generally speaking, I just don't find I run into it anymore because like once you get over the hill, the other side is just a steep drop off a cliff almost, and you're there. You're done.
Yeah, I just find it the ones I find the most difficult ships because they just take so freaking long.
Yeah, I get it. Because like, there's that mid-build motivation. Like you hit certain milestones, and you're like, yeah, I'm psyched about this again. But at some point, you get to a point where there's no more of those between where you are and the finish line, and you've just got to slog.
Yeah, and like when you're building a large ship and you got like 10 to 12 sheets of photo etch, you just look like it's going to take me forever to do.
I see. I don't think construction is ever a slump part of the build. Because like you got your hands on things. It's quite hands on, and you just sort of get psyched up for it. But when you get over the other side and you just got nothing but say rigging or something left, and you got like you're staring at it and you're like, well, it looks done. It looks mostly done. It's just missing rigging. But that's another whole maybe 5 hours of rigging work. You're like, I can see you like stalling at that point.
I believe it's fine to actually let it stall and put it aside and go and do something completely different to just get that mojo back again.
Yeah, wash your mouth out sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. So, pick up a Warhammer 40k minifigure and paint that. Or if you've been building aircraft, go and do a tank or something like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with allowing a project to stall and just sit by the wayside because up until that point, it's given you a lot of pleasure when you've built it anyway. And that's what the hobby's about, enjoying what you're doing sitting at the bench.
Yeah. And also, if you've got the space, sometimes it's not a bad idea to have.
You hit the nail on the head because the whole time Dave was saying that, I was thinking, okay, but where are you putting all the stuff that's strewn across your desk?
I'd pack it back up in the box and put it in the box away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
you have like multiple projects if you had the space.
And I do have multiple projects, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 projects, 5 actually on the go, including maybe 6 with a shelf queen in there as well. And the interesting thing is, when I come back to it after I put it aside, I think to myself, wow, gee, I've really achieved a lot on this already, so why did I ever stop in the first place? So, and the hobby's about sitting at the bench and enjoying yourself. It's not about necessarily the end product. It's how you get there. It's a journey, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why we enjoy doing it so much. Yes, I get a kick out of seeing it when it's finished and all that. But for God's sake, don't beat yourself up because you're not getting there in the end.
No.
Just enjoy the process.
Yeah. See, I think for me, momentum plays a big role.
Yes, I agree. I do agree with you there.
Like, if you can keep that ball rolling, you'll be fine. But if you let it stop...
Oh, then it's so hard to get started.
Yeah, like for example, if I go, you know what, I've got some other things to do in life. I've got to take care of that first, and then you come back to and then you can see it because I'm at my computer desk, which is where I do most of my brush painting and construction type stuff. And it'll sit there within my peripheral vision, and
just mocking you.
And the thing is, if it leaves my peripheral vision, I won't pick it up again.
Yep.
So I don't put it back in the box. Even if the box is on the table, I can't do that because if I do that, I just won't touch it again. So it has to stay there, gathering dust in my line of sight all the time. Otherwise, there's zero chance I'll touch it again.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's mind games you play with yourself. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's easier to keep on going. Like the easiest builds are the ones that you do in one sort of sitting.
Yes.
Right. Because, for example, like say a 24-hour build or a interclub build, where it's just like I'm here to get things done, and I'm sitting down and I won't get up until it's done.
Yeah, I find I work better when I'm on like a timetable.
Oh, timetable, that's interesting.
Oh, I hate timetables.
Like those 48-hour builds.
Oh, I hate timetables.
Do you mean like you got to get it done by a deadline?
Yeah.
Oh, that can motivate me because you don't want to. Actually, you know what? As someone on a podcast, this is it's not obviously this is a very niche perspective, but as someone on a podcast, you do sort of do those things where you can force yourself into a position where you have to produce a result because you've
opened your big mouth.
Yeah, exactly. you put it out there that you were working on this thing, and then people start sending in emails saying, "Whatever happened to that thing?"
Yes.
And even if they don't send the emails, you're like expecting it, so
exactly.
you get it done.
Yeah.
Fully agree.
Very cool. All right, thanks for that voicemail message. That's excellent. All right, let's move on to the rest of mail. Let's see. Dave Waples writes in, greetings. Enjoyed listening to the show. Excellent discussion. This is talking about our last episode where we spoke about the issues that are presented to our hobby in regards to what's happening economically around the world. Dave goes on, I will, of course, support my local US businesses. Instead of clogging up a thread anymore, I'll share some thoughts in this email. STL files were briefly brought up. As an example, I buy from a cottage industry company called Matters of Scale, based here in the US. The operator, John Colasanti, I hope I got that right.
Oh, yeah.
Designs, actually that name rings a bell.
Yeah.
Designs his own STL files, prints his products and distributes them from his home. He buys resin for maybe $25 a bottle. At least that's what I pay for the standard resin, which I buy locally, which comes from China. If that product is no longer available or priced out of the market, buying from a US manufacturer doubles his production cost. Domestically produced 3D printer resin is about $50 per bottle. Now his $20 engine or widget is now $40 in cost.
Yep.
A modeller still going to buy them? Will they buy as many? Is it worth it for John to keep his business going if there's a dramatic loss of business? For that matter, I will buy as many files from other sellers if it becomes too expensive for me to print it. As to relocating manufacturing to a local market, I listened to an interview with a gentleman that owns a small company in the US that produces gaming products, lots of little figures, buildings, games cards, etc. When asked if he could move his production to the US, he said there wasn't anyone that could do it. But overseas, he had 8 different companies that he could call to get something made. If the current economic situation continues, this is going to kill his business, and he's already worried about the holiday season. So, in the meantime, we need to continue to take care of each other, and no doubt this is an interesting discussion at our next club meeting, and I suspect for your future podcast. That's from Dave Waples.
Thanks, Dave.
And Dave then wrote back in because he forgot. He was so busy on his on the economic thing. I almost forgot about the short discussion about cleaning resin prints. So I have to say the technique described by Jason Miller didn't make sense to me. If you believe in AI, here's what Google said. Denatured alcohol can be used to clean 3D resin parts, although it may not be ideal choice for all resin applications. It's generally considered a viable alternative to IPA for cleaning, and some users find it more effective or cost-effective. However, it's crucial to be aware of the potential downsides like stronger fumes, potential residue, and the possibility of damaging certain resins. I don't know about that, says Dave. There's a lot of different approaches, and I suspect they can change based on resin used. But here's how I've been taught to clean the 3D resin parts. So while it's still on the build plate, hold it over a baking pan and spray it with 99% IPA. This dilutes the uncured resin and washes much of the resin away from the printed part, and the pan catches all the residue. I wipe up the diluted uncured resin in the pan and on the build plate with paper towels, and put the paper towels into a clear plastic tub. The tub goes outside eventually where the cured resin hardens off in the sun. I then remove the part from the build plate and place them into a pickle jar filled with 99% IPA. I turn the pickle jar over and over for about a minute, and it gets the bulk of the remaining uncured resin off the parts. He then removes it from the first jar and puts it into a second jar with clean IPA. This then gets any remaining uncured resin off the model and leaves the prints clean. For complex prints where there is opportunities for resin to get trapped, I put it in my ultrasonic cleaner filled with water, and occasionally I will see the tiniest bit of resin come to the surface like oil on water. Frankly, this is very rare, but it gives me confidence that the parts are 100% clean and ready for curing. I then cure the parts, but I only do it for about 2 minutes. If I go beyond that on my Elegee cure station, it can become really brittle or overcooked. I look forward to hearing more about Jason's approach to 3D printing, cleaning, and curing on upcoming episodes. So we might just have to get Jason on the show to have a chat about that.
Yes, I think we may. Very, very interesting.
You know, part of that was how he mentioned how the process of using the ultrasonic cleaner gives him confidence. It's amazing how much that occurs in modeling, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like, I'm not sure if this works, but it makes me feel better, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. We're creatures of habit,
It
Julian.
is. Next one, Stefan from Monterey, California. I've been to Monterey. It's a beautiful little town along the sea there. Hello, benches. My question is for Julian. When he paints the taillights in his car, does he paint the inside of the clear plastic part or the outside? And what are his general thoughts on painting clear plastic parts?
Inside. I paint the inside.
Yep.
Because why would you want to ruin the surface that's perfect?
Yes. Very true.
Okay, well, that's short and sweet.
Yes. Yes. General thoughts on painting clear plastic parts. Look, if you're going to... If it's small enough and not too broad, you can get away with brush painting, you know, like an acrylic clear red or orange or whatever it is for your tail lights and things. But if they
You
get
more dab the paint on there. You wouldn't stroke it.
it doesn't matter. I just sort of swirl it in there because it's certainly like a what do you call it? Like a cavity kind of thing, right?
Yep.
I have been known to airbrush it though, in some cases, because of you don't want in certain cases where like they're big, broad type of thing. So, for example, my RX-7, it's a piece of plastic that goes across the entire rear. I think it was. But the way they did it, so you've got to paint, say, the indicators on the sides. Then you got to paint the red for the tails.
Yep.
And then you have to use black tint for the middle section because it's that 80s, 70s era kind of thing where they've used that sort of effect a lot. And so you got to have that alongside the actual over the tinted, because they're like tinted taillights.
Oh, yes, I understand.
So there's the tinted section in the middle that's only black, and then there's the parts on the side that are red and then black as well. And it was kind of okay, whatever, tricky. But if you have to do something broad like that, and you're going to airbrush it, you have to use my I wouldn't say you have to, but
your go-to.
What I would suggest you use is you get a pre-thinned, tint, because thinning a tint is a kind of weird thing where you can't judge consistency too well because of the fact that it's transparent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So if you can buy it in pre-thinned, it solves a lot of your problems.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, you end up doing things like flooding, and you're like, why isn't it that deep red that I need?
Yeah.
Also, if you can get it in a lacquer, even better, because then you can just keep laying down coats and they just keep drying really quickly.
Yes, yeah.
Rather than you flooding it and getting pissed off and getting impatient and then
end up ruining it.
Yeah, exactly. It solves a lot of the problems.
Yep.
Very good. Well, thanks for that, Stephen, and I hope to get back to Monterey one day, because as I said, it's a beautiful part of California, so I enjoyed when I was there last time. Gary Denham writes in, Dave, Ian and Julian, a thought occurred to me after your last episode on the potential impact of US tariffs on small hobby stores. Record Store Day has become a staple in the calendar for us music-obsessive people to get down and support our local record shops. I wonder if such thing could be possible for model shops. For many, the draw of Record Store Day is the exclusive releases, and I'm sure our hobby could draw exclusive boxings and goodies from some of the more sympathetic manufacturers. Edward, we love you, close brackets. But for me, it's always been about the occasion itself. The local flavour and banter in the queue. I once got chatting with a guy who'd flown from Edinburgh to Melbourne for an AC/DC gig and flown right back home again the day after.
There's dedication.
I could see a model store day with a flash sale, in-store demos, local club display, after-hours pub meet-up. Just a thought how we might support these businesses without which many of us wouldn't have had our start in the hobby, not to mention continued enthusiasm. That's from Gary in Edinburgh.
Well, that's what we need, an international, an international modeller's day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, is one special day enough to keep
that's
them afloat?
And that's what it's like. It's like Mother's Day, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be loving your mother and bringing flowers each week, not just on one special day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I like the idea, and I like it as a way of sort of, bringing to attention that, how we can sort of promote local hobby stores.
Well,
but the other thing is too that it misses the online stores as well. How do you bring them into the fold, and how would you do it that way? So
a lot of it comes down to the stores themselves have to self-promote too.
Oh, look, I'm
like our local one, they do a pretty good job of self-promoting.
Yeah.
They have club displays, and they're talking about, occasionally they have like build nights, not build nights,
build days.
Workshops.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that all helps bring people.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a concept that's been playing on my mind, is that some hobby stores are hobby focused and they're very community driven, and they understand that if they want to get more sales, and they've got to add to the community, they've got to churn this mixing bowl of people.
Yep.
But some of them are just run as cold businesses.
Yes.
By people who don't care about the hobby. They're not interested. They were just like, I wanted to make a business that made money. And I thought this would be the ticket. And unfortunately, it's not what I hoped it would be, kind of thing. And those this might be enough to kill them off. And some of us would probably lament their passing, but I mean, the owner won't.
Well, no,
not in those cases. Not for those types of businesses.
No.
Yeah.
Let's
So
move
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'll see sort of a solidification of which stores were really in it and which stores were kind of like 1 foot out the door.
That's right. Yeah,
the whole time.
There's no point supporting a store that really is not in it for you as well. As you said, if there's a store that's just to make the cold hard cash.
I mean, we've all been inside those hobby stores, the ones where the guy behind the counter just
has no idea,
talks shit about the guy who just left, the customer who left. Oh, he only came in here and all he did was buy some paint. I've seen those types.
Or they've got no idea about the product they're selling.
Yeah,
I think though, to be fair, and that those shops are far and few between.
Oh yeah,
and if they're going to fail, they already have failed,
or they're on the way.
By and large, the bulk of brick and mortar hobby stores and our online stores as well. The ones I've dealt with, certainly I've had nothing but great experiences with.
Same here.
Yeah,
and like as we've discussed many a time, especially in our area, like we're just completely blessed with.
Yeah, we are
with brick and mortar stores. And
so going back to the email from Gary, I do like the idea, and I'll mull on it a little while longer, and we'll just sort of let that sort of percolate and see what comes out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they're running, various things like this, after hours, the pub meetup, whatever it is that he mentioned, various things, like they're churning things up.
Yeah.
The sales will come. People will make the effort because it'll be in the forefront of their mind. They'll be like, "Oh, let's go down. We haven't been there for a few weeks. Once a month, special day kind of thing."
Yeah. Let me think it through, and I'll have a word with a few people and see what maybe we can come up with.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I like the idea. Anyway. All right. Thanks, Gary. Righty-o. Okay, so our next email comes from Lee Edmonds, who writes in, Dear Benches, it's good to be back in our wide brown land after 3 weeks overseas. Also good to hear people who speak the right accent again.
Correct.
While away, I visited a few aviation and technology museums, but only one model shop, which was Newbury Hobbies in the main street of Newbury, which is about an hour and a half out of London. If you happen to be in the area, drop in and say hello to Sean for me. My favourite museum was Museum de l'Air et l'Espace. Oh, I pronounced that wrong.
That is not what that said. But
it's the Museum of Air and Aerospace at the old airport in Paris, or Le Bourget. It's hard to get to, but well worth it. Among the many aircraft on show is the beautiful Dassault Mirage 4000 in a row with other beautiful Dassault fighters, and the next hangar also housing 2 Concords. I was so besotted by the Mirage 4000 that I took lots of photos with the intention of making a model of it one day. On the way out of the museum, I stopped into the shop and found there was a model's fit kit of the Mirage 4000, and I could not resist. It cost a lot, but I thought I might never see the kit again, so I bought it. However, when I got it home, I found I already got this kit.
I hate it when that happens.
and I bought it a lot cheaper too. So now I have 2 kits, but they only make one Mirage 4000, and it is still in the same scheme that it first flew in 1979, so not many colour options. There's a lesson here somewhere. Never go to France, or don't get besotted by big white jets. More likely, it's buy and be damned. Oh, there you go. And I am still yet to get to that museum. I've been...
You've been to France a few times now.
Yeah, well, I'm planning to go back to France again in January, so I've definitely got this museum on my must-go-to.
Yep.
So I've got to get there. Because I believe there's also got a Saab Viggen there as well, which I'm hanging out to see.
Oh, Saab Viggen.
Yeah.
They're a pretty unusual looking aircraft.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Canard wings.
Sexy aircraft. Thanks, Lee. Next one comes from Paulo Castro. Hi all, regards to smuggling kits into the US, here is my suggestion. Now, I've just got to say, this is Paul's suggestion and not the podcast. We do not endorse what Paul is saying. He says, stuff 2 or more kits into one box, and that way it will only be one kit. I may or may not have used this trick to smuggle kits into my own house to avoid the missus's sharp taxation fees. Those cheers from Paulo from Adelaide.
I like the way he thinks.
Yeah.
Plus you can take more kits home then too, can't you?
Well, I've seen people go to Japan and they unbox their kits and put them into the suitcase and squash the packaging down.
Yeah, flatten the packaging.
Yeah. That's one way of doing it, I guess.
I've seen people who do like Gundams and stuff rapidly build it in their hotel room and then put it in like a Ziploc bag.
Really?
Yeah, because like you can really condense the amount of parts down to like.
Oh, yeah, once you take it off the sprues, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you need glue.
Yeah.
No,
and it's not like he's going to paint it necessarily either. But yeah, you can do it that way, and then I don't recommend it. The guy didn't look happy doing it.
No,
because like he's just rushing it all in like a couple of nights kind of thing in a hotel room with dim lighting, and it's like that's not.
That's what gets me about Martin Drayton. How that guy can build models when he's in a hotel room.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand
it, and to do such great work too.
El Presidente Tim Holland sent us an email with a link to it where it's a tie-in to our last podcast. And he sent me a link with all of the railroad companies, model railroad companies.
Oh, yeah.
Just talking about the impact of the current economic situation in regards to their hobby. So I've already looked through that and I thought it was really good, and I might just actually put that up on our OTB Facebook page for people to go and have a look at, because it's really good to see all the railroad
companies,
companies and hobby shops all sort of uniting under one banner.
Yeah. Well, they've got to.
Yeah, they do. They do. So I thought that's quite positive.
Wow, you sound really congested, Dave.
Oh, I know, I do.
It's making me feel weird. You know how like you don't think about being sick until you are sick, and you're like, oh, this is terrible. I've forgotten what being normal's like.
just to ease your concerns and worries, I'm not contagious. I'm well past it.
Good.
No, I'm not worried in that sense.
be.
It's just the psychological
Yeah.
feeling. I can hear it in your voice, the congestion and like what it feels like to have a completely.
Well, in that case, I'm going to get Ian to read out the next one then, which comes from our good mate, Craig Everson.
Hello, Dave, Ian, and Julian. Hope you are well and enjoying any time on the bench. After listening to the last 2 episodes, I thought I'd write in about a couple of subjects. Numero uno. I really enjoyed listening to the chat about shipping with Bacon Bits models. I loved to hear the tips that were spoken about, and it got me excited to build one of the 2 ships I have the stash, with one being the Edward boxing of the USS Arizona, and would love to start on it. But then I remembered how daunting it is with all the rigging and PE, so it stays in the stash for now. Go on, do it. Number 2, I agree with what you said in the chat with Rob Riv about the state of the hobby with its financial turmoil at the moment, and yes, we need to support all parts of the hobby, from brick and mortar stores to cottage industry and the big manufacturers as well. This hopefully won't last too long, but it is a worry at this time. Anyway, keep up the great work and can't wait to hear the next episode. Kind regards, Craig.
Excellent. Thanks, mate.
So, yeah, the Arizona. Yes. That's something I wouldn't mind having in my stash, that kit.
Yeah, exactly
What's
right.
the Arizona look like?
It's an old-timey battleship
Yeah,
from World War II.
Oh, okay, I get you. Right,
Yeah.
old-timey battleship.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. With beautiful cage masts.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, get stuffed.
What?
I can't. Like, I remember seeing that on Bacon Bits' model, and I would never attempt it. I take one look at that, and I think, nope, that it means it's blacklisted. I would never consider building that model.
So the next one's from Black Ops Models. Hi, Dave. I listened with interest to your podcast last weekend and wanted to offer our experience here at Black Ops Models. We are the epitome of small garage manufacturer making unique low-volume products. Over the last 10 years, we have been making conversions. Initially, when making a subject I was interested in, I would make moulds simply because it seemed like a waste to do all that scratch building not to reproduce it. We, my wife Kate and I, were selling these creations over eBay. However, in time we set up a Shopify store in order to streamline these transactions. Both my wife and myself had day jobs, and Black Ops was a sideline. Casting parts and resin is a specialised operation, and you always seem to be chasing your own tail, constantly buying silicon and preparing new moulds. 3D printing, however, is a game changer, and while not without its own idiosyncrasies, allows a consistency of manufacture not attainable in the traditional silicon moulding. Not to mention the intricacy of detail unobtainable with any other method. So last September 2024, Kate gave up a day job to focus 100% on Black Ops models. It has grown large enough by then to be a genuine alternative to her job, and this has allowed me to focus on the design of new kits or conversions while Kate looks after everything else. Promotion, production, packaging, ordering, social media, customer inquiries, etc., etc. She's a busy woman, mate.
Yeah.
We do not sell to retailers, rather focusing on direct sales via our website. And to make us even more niche, we focus on modern subjects, primarily driven by demand. The majority of our product range is US subjects, and most of our customers are from the US. We have noticed a significant drop-off in demand over the last couple of months that we put down to the current uncertain by around the effect of tariff, and I assume people's concerned about what the final cost would be before they have the goods in their possession. Right now, our plan is to get through this. Kate can always go back to work a couple of days a week if required, which would be a shame as we have 4 printers with plans for a 5th, and the infrastructure built up around the workload we had at the beginning of this year. Things that would help us. People in the US take time to understand that at the moment there would be no additional cost buying one of our kits, although we must concede that that is entirely fluid and could change in the time it takes to ship an item. Additionally, the Australian dollar is at an all-time low, so your US money goes a long way. Support from home. We have numerous conversions for Australian vehicles and are keen to add more to our range. We have a great support from Australians and we hope this continues. While we have a long list of future projects, to be honest, most are US subjects, we would welcome non-US suggestions for subjects that people may be interested in. Certainly there are some evergreen ideas such as M113s and UH-1 Hueys that may be US in origin but have become well used across NATO and the West, that they have become universal. So they have the universal appeal. But we would welcome ideas for others. Note as well, we already have a system in place where if you supply us with unique references on a specific aircraft or vehicle, not just a collection of Google images, and we make it, we will send you one of the first kits in production line for free. I am an industrial designer and my design time is already limited with a day job, and taking on other people's design projects would only take away from the long list of new ideas we already have. Would like to offer our spare print capacity as a print service. So if people have files they would like 3D printed, we would happily take on the work. We have a well-rehearsed workflow from STL file through to packaging and shipping that enables us to quickly print and dispatch other people's files, so I would encourage anyone who has files and needs them professionally printed to contact us via our website. We will add the supports and scale the item as required, so people would just need to send their already purchased STL file and we'll take it from there. If you're looking for someone to print your F1 engines, Dave, we could certainly look after that. Lastly, help from podcasts like yours to get the word out that business like ours exists, and we offer great models and conversions that would never get from the mainstream manufacturers. Supporting small enterprises like ours gives us access to all these unique models. Otherwise, we would all be building Tiger tanks. That's cheers from Matt from Black Ops Models.
Go check out Black Ops Models.
Yes.
And I've actually replied to Matt, and we're going to organise to get him on the show in the future as well. So,
oh, cool.
A lot of the stuff that he says there sort of resonates with what we've been saying, and supporting the small manufacturers. And if we don't, they're just going to disappear.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No, we don't want that because, as he says,
otherwise we'll all be building Tiger tanks.
100%.
Tiger tanks, Messerschmitts, and Mustangs.
Yeah, he definitely sort of knocked that nail right on the head. Rightio, I think that's about it. We've got an interview coming up next with Jason Miller from Arms Core Models.
Cool.
So it'll be nice to have a chat to him. He actually was the one who wrote in the other week about the cleaning the 3D parts. So I think that'll be an interesting discussion to see what he's got to say about that, given that Dave Waples does it a different way.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's what works for you.
Yeah, it does. But before we peel off to have a break and have our interview, we need to do our Wheel of Patreon Wheel of Fortune. Let me get that out. And what we are giving away this week is an OTB T-shirt.
Ooh.
So
cool.
We'll see who the lucky winner is.
They're rare as hen's teeth.
Oh, they are very rare. Even more rare than the challenge coin. And the winner is Steve Anderson.
Woohoo! Well done, Steve.
Steve, I'll be reaching out to you via email and getting a T-shirt size and getting all that sort of stuff organised to get it shipped to you. All right, let's have a quick word about a model show that is on next weekend, and then we'll come back and have a chat to our mate from Arms Core Models.
G'day all, it's Andrew Haas from Wollongong on the beautiful south coast of New South Wales. On behalf of the Illawarra Plastic Models Association, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Dave, Gillian, Ian, Gillian's Jules, fellow benchers, your families and friends to the annual New South Wales Scale Model Show. The 2025 show is being held from 9am to 4pm on Saturday, May the 17th and Sunday, May the 18th at the Illawarra Sports Stadium, Fred Finch Park on Hooker Creek Road in Berkeley, New South Wales. General entry is $10 for families, $5 for adults, cash only. Competition entries are $3 per model, up to 15 models with a maximum of $45 for unlimited entries. Models are also invited to display their work free of charge on the display tables if they choose not to enter the competition. There will be numerous traders in attendance and an awesome swap and sell running all weekend. For competition rules, online entry, categories and various other details, go to https://ipmamodels.net and click on the show announcement. We look forward to seeing all of you there.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce...
Jason Miller.
I just forgot his name. It's terrible.
Oh,
man.
G'day team, how are you?
Great, buddy.
Mate, I've got this cold and it's sapping my brain cells as we talk. So,
Oh, it sounds like you need to sniff some cooked resin, mate.
That's it.
So, Jason, we've had you on the show before. We were up in Queensland, I
Yep.
believe, at
Yes.
QMH.
Key.
QMHE.
Yep.
Thank you. Which we are heading up there again this August.
Yes, we
And,
are.
Awesome.
Very excited about it. Now, you have a little manufacturing company that is called Arms Core Models.
Correct.
And you do a whole heap of wonderful additional aftermarket stuff, mainly aimed at Aussie armour, modern armour, I want to say.
Pretty much purely Australian armour. I've only got a couple of things in the catalogue at the moment, but it's slowly starting to build up a bit. Like I've had a few people say, well, if you only do Australian armour, why'd you do a quad 50? So my main reasoning for that was that it was actually a commission job. And I sent a couple of photos off to a few mates and they went, what? Yeah, I want that. And I went, well, okay, cool. The second reasoning was behind it was because the quad 50s have the same 50 cal setup as what we do in the T50 turret for the M113, which is a left-hand cock, left-hand feed.
Yes.
So that's why I did it, because I'd already had the drawing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, I specifically do Australian stuff only. I mean, if I wanted to make money out of this business, I'd do German World War II. There's plenty of other guys that do that. So
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny because our good mate Stuart from Black Hat YouTube channel, he just recently, well, he hasn't posted it yet, but he's building a Huntsman, and he was struggling to find some tracks for it, aftermarket tracks. So
Yep.
that might be a little idea for you in the future, looking forward to doing that.
Oh, look, anything sort of post 2020 is pretty much out of my league. I've got practically zero reference on it, with the exception to and some people are going to love the sound of this, the M1A2 SEP V3. I've actually already started doing a few bits and pieces for that, and some of those test shots have been sent off to a few guys to compare to the actual vehicle they crew. So that's pretty cool. But things like the Boxer, the Huntsman, that sort of thing, it's I've got too much else to do to worry about the newer stuff at the moment. So I want to catch up on everything else that I've done in the past, including resurrecting the ASLab series of kits, but not as a resin one, but as a 3D print. So because it's a whole lot easier,
Right.
in the long run.
So let's take a step back and perhaps find out about your back history and your modelling journey. So that might be a good place to start.
I can remember my very first model kit that my grandmother bought me, and it was I think it was either Japanese Air Force or Japanese airliner 747 that came in a clear plastic bag. I think it was by Revell. That she bought me at the local Woolworths at the time, I think.
The old Woolies.
Old Woolies, yeah. And I thought, well, this is cool. So I continued that as a young fella. And, switched then to Matchbox and all of the other 72 scale kits and, Heinkel 111s and ME 109s, much to my grandfather's disgust. Why aren't you building Australian stuff instead of this German crap and Japanese stuff? And I said, well, there is none. So we'll come back to that. But then later on in life, I sort of was living down the Snowies for a few years, and in the winter months there wasn't a lot of, not much to do.
Exactly.
It's snowing and freezing cold. So I picked up the tools again and kept going. But this time I took a ride across to Kapuka one day, and I come across these things that were green with tracks and had a gun turret, and I went, whoa! And that was the first time I'd actually been in an M113 in real life, and that started the love/hate affair with that vehicle. Modelling wise, it continued for a few years. Verlinden started to kick around then in the early 90s. And of course, Vietnam was still a very, very big thing. So I started doing a lot of, dioramas and things like that. And I never went to shows or anything because I was out in the middle of the sticks.
Yeah.
But and most of those ended up in my grandparents' display cabinet and stuff like that. But then later on, I joined the army. Modelling took a bit of a back burner because I was actually playing with the real thing. But then I thought, nah, bugger it all. Got nothing better to do while I'm living in the lines, so might as well start modelling again.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of was, well, why don't I model what I work on? And that's where the Australian armour part of it really kicked in. And then I was medically discharged from the army in 2002. And actually two M113s broke me. But so I started working for Security Mob in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane. That was a horrid job. And then I ended up working for Brett at the military workshop. And I spent 3 years there selling model kits and books and paints and glues and all of that kind of good gear.
Yep.
Got into the figure side of modelling. I don't know if Bennett remember, but our first meeting that we had at the military workshop, I'm looking at Ben's figures going, oh, my God. So, yeah, it was figures for a few years, sold a lot of those as commission jobs, and pretty much just sort of pushed back towards doing 35th scale armour. And at that stage, I was still we were selling some parts of the Mouse House range through the shop, and ended up talking to John, and just started casting and building for John.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it was just getting too much with a back injury, standing at the bench for 14, 15 hours a day casting. So I gave it away, and that was after I brought my own line out as well. But I just couldn't stand there. I couldn't do all that. The RSI in the hands was killing me and all that kind of stuff too. So I ended up working on a paintball field for 8 years.
Oh, geez.
And that was a whole lot of fun. And we brought in the gel blasters there to supplement the business as well. Mm-hmm. And that caused a whole lot of problems. But we got that all worked out with QPS and so forth. And that went gangbusters for a while. And unfortunately, that business ended up closing. And during that time as well, I still do, I work for a charity here in Toowoomba. Mm-hmm. And just a call out to the charity, the Toowoomba and Southwest Ostomy Association. So we look after the poor buggers that have bowel cancer and urinary cancer and all of that kind of thing.
Yep.
And we supply their bags, bases, wipes, all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so we look after them. And it's a great job. I run the warehouse there and, do a day and a half a week with that. And then the rest of the time I'm sitting here printing. But so yeah, once the skirmish field or paintball field had closed, I had to do something again to supplement my tobacco
habit
addiction. So I thought, well, I've had this 3D printer sitting at the front door now for 2 years. I might as well pull it out and have a look at it, and that's where it started.
And you haven't looked back since?
Oh, a couple of times I wanted to walk away. I can assure you of that. It's when it works, it's fantastic. But my average, I think James worked it out that I do 7 test prints before I actually have a product.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why it takes me so long, is because it's test print. Change an angle. This doesn't work. That works. Can I make that finer? Because the guys that buy my stuff, they know that I've got a bit of a fetish for as accurate as possible, including scale thickness. So with the printers as they're coming out nowadays, I can get pretty small stuff, which is pretty cool.
Now, you wrote into us with a method for cleaning your printed parts.
Yep.
And we had another email which we've just read out where they're a little bit confused about your method because you use methylated spirits,
Yes, I
which
do.
is denatured alcohol for our
And
US people.
That was brought up by one of the boys in Rocky as well. He goes, if you ever speak about that again, give me a shout out, and I will. I'll drop his name. Ash, thank you very much for the idea. It works sensationally. So the idea with using metho is like a paint thinner for resin. For this particular type of resin, you can also use it for polyurethane as well, although it's not recommended because it will make the parts very brittle if you mix metho with uncured polyurethane. The UV resin, and again, anything that I say from here is what works for me. It may not work for you, but it works for me. And if it works for me, I stick to it. So once you've done your print, and I've actually got a print on at the moment, once you've done your print, you take it out, and in my wash and cure machine from Anycubic, thank you very much, it's full of metho. So you put the parts into that, give it anything from a 30 seconds to 90-second wash, and then I have a 10-litre tub sitting next to that full of clean metho.
Yep.
Excuse me, 2 seconds. Okay, so then it goes into that tub and gets switched around in there a little bit. I get a squirter bottle with a soft spray to get into all of the little nooks and crannies and so forth, especially with very fine things, like the AS1 wind sensor, for instance.
Right.
If that was to go into the wash machine, it'd destroy it. So it's got to be done by hand.
Yep.
So from there, you shake it off, and then it goes straight into the IPA. Now, the IPA will lift the metho off it and any thinned out resin because of the metho and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Give that a swish around in there, give it a squirt with a squirter bottle as well if you have to, shake that off, and then gently blow dry it with an air compressor or your lungs, and let it sit on a paper towel for about 5-10 minutes, and then put it into the cure box.
Okay.
And that's how I do it.
I've done a bit of printing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that method. I mean, the idea of using a cheaper version of IPA to do the really dirtiest part of the washing doesn't sound like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, well, the reason why I like everyone, I started off using IPA as my main wash, but what I found was my first lot of wind sensors and engine decks for the AS1 have incredibly fine parts on it.
Yep.
And what I was finding were these white specks would attach itself to the parts. And I thought, what in the hell? And I couldn't get it off for the life of me. And what it was is the IPA, it sort of thins down, but it more or less turns to a gum.
Yep.
And then that sticks to everything.
Oh, it would, yeah.
And then I was talking to Ash about it one day, and Ash goes, well, why don't you use metho? I went, oh, yeah, I'll give it a bash. And that just changed everything. But like I said, the IPA that I use is only then to clean the metho off so that you don't have tide marks all over your part.
Yep. Right.
One thing that I think should be probably mentioned is that methylated spirits, or metho, denatured alcohol, is super common here. Like in Australia, it's household. You can buy it in any
Grocery store.
grocery store. But IPA, on the other hand, to get in any reasonable quantity, you have to go to the
Bunnings.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't. I've been to Bunnings to buy it, and they only sell it in a little spritzer bottle kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Well,
it's actually harder to get hold of than the other one. But I think
Yeah,
in the
I buy
US,
it in
it's the other way
5.
around, right?
Well, I'm not sure about the US, but like I buy it in 5 kilo jugs, or 5 litres at a time from a cleaning store. These supply stores that have all these different cleaning products and all that kind of thing. Go in there. Don't go to Bunnings. Bugger that. And for IPA, I think I'm paying something at about $40-$45 for 5 litres. For the metho, it's around $30-$35, something like that, I think it is. But I haven't bought IPA for 6 months.
Yep.
Metho, I go through a lot of metho. But the good thing about the metho too is all of the pigments and the resin will settle to the bottom of the container.
Yes.
IPA, it more or less is suspended.
Makes
if
it
that
gummy.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it makes everything gummy, yeah. So I just switched to metho and just use the IPA then again to clean the
final
metho
clean.
off the parts for a final clean.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me. And I'm happy with it.
There you go. So what do you got on your product store at the moment? You mentioned that.
Sorry?
It's, what's in your product store at the moment?
I've got the AS1 Leopard in 35th scale for the men kit.
Yes, which I have. I have that in my stash actually.
The men kit or the conversion or both?
Both.
Cool. There is an update coming for that. 2 weeks ago, I posted some photos of an earlier basket type. So that kit is having extra bits replaced, for want of a better term. Things like the baskets for one. The wind sensor, there's actually a change on that as well for the earlier versions. The rear left antenna mount, AMU mount, that changed as well. Well, that's different on the earlier versions. So there's about 3 or 4 different turret baskets coming out that denotes different eras. If I can get this bloody mesh to work.
Yeah, yes. Mesh.
So yeah, it's really fine, and it's driving me to drink. And this is again why it takes me so long, because I'll get so frustrated with it that I'll just push it off to one side.
Yep.
And say, right, I'll come back to that. And that's the only reason why the 1/16 scale Australian Abrams A1 is not out yet, because there's one part on that. I've finished the entire kit except for one part, and it's just driving me to drink. And it's a case of push it off to one side, or I'm just going to go shift delete.
Yep.
Well, at least with all the metho, just get some orange juice and you've got your instant drink there for you.
Well, it's funny because the lady that's behind the counter down at that supply shop that I get it from, I walked in there one day as a joke with a loaf of bread, and she just fell over laughing. And the other guy behind the counter didn't get the joke, so we had to explain it to him about straining it through a loaf of bread before you drink it.
Yes.
But, so, I'll go in there and I'll go, 10 litres of metho and 1 of IPA, thanks.
That is so
Excuse
funny.
me. And she'll go, you got a barbecue on? I said, yeah, you got a few of the boys coming over. But, now, I will warn you, though, metho has a much stronger odour to it than IPA.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
make sure you're using it in a ventilated area.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Safety.
Yes.
But, the Abrams is like when I was pleased at QMHE last year there, I was like, yep, the Abrams is ready to go. It's just about ready to go, yada, 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 yada. And then I got a little bit more information. It was like, no, I'm going to have to change this part too now. Thank you, Alan.
Such is life.
Yep.
Such is life.
This is true. Such is the world of model making.
Yes.
How are you finding it as and I don't mean any disrespect when I call you this, but a cottage industry?
There's no disrespect at all. This is my hobby.
Yeah.
I'm not in this to make the money. I never have. But what I wanted out of this is to see more model makers out there building accurate Australian kits. That's what I want. I won't drop company names or anything like that, but you see a few of them hit the market every now and then, and I'll sort of have a look at the photos and go,
I'll pass.
and unfortunately not unfortunately, it's good that they're doing them. But I think they just need to spend a little bit more time on it.
I
with anything Australian,
we've all picked up some aftermarket, thinking it was a good idea, and then you compare it to the kit parts and go, "Oh, actually, I think
Not
I'd
much
be better off
difference, is it?
using the kit parts, as crude as they are."
I mean, it was sensational when Trump had brought out their ASLab kits. I thought, this is so. John and I were sitting there talking about it, going, we did already do it for their Lab 25 kit. So we thought, this is going to be an easy conversion. Yeah, no. And in the long run, it worked out. I mean, that kit sold really, really well. Same with my Abrams kit that I did years ago as well. That sold really well. Or anything I do, actually. And there's my arrogance showing up again. But, the more people that build Australian, as far as I'm concerned, the better.
Yeah.
We have some interesting looking vehicles that have, been slightly modified from the US or British or what have you. And it just, it's my bread and butter. It's what I know, so that's why I do it.
Excellent. We're going to be seeing you up at Queensland again?
Sorry?
You coming up to the next show at Queensland?
Oh, yeah. I'll be at QMHE, and my plan is to also be down at Canberra this year as well.
Oh, well, we'll see you twice in 1 year. That's,
You will, sir. I don't know if I have a traders table at either of them. I hope to. Otherwise, I'll be just running around with a shirt and another kit that I'm just going to have in a box kicking around the floor to see what parts of it break before it comes out. And a few people sort of noticed that at QMHE before last as well. I had my leopard kit in the box, and I was dropping it, throwing it around, dropping it on tables and all that, and people were having a heart attack. And I thought, well, it's just a test, just to see what parts will break.
Yes.
Because we all know what Australia Post is like.
Oh, we do indeed.
Oh, that we do.
We do indeed.
So if I can kick it around a model show for 2 days and nothing breaks, then there's a good chance it'll survive Australia Post.
Correct.
But so the plan is I'll definitely be at QMHE, and the plan is to, at this stage, 80% chance that I'll be at Canberra as well. So
very cool.
I haven't been down there for the new format as yet.
Well, Ian and I are locked in for Brisbane, and
Cool.
Ian and Julian and I are locked in for Canberra this year. So
Even better.
Yeah. So we'll be Canberra
out and
After
about.
Dark is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I've had a few guys going, "Oh, are you coming out for beers afterwards?" And I'm like, well, "Yeah, of course I am." But yeah, it's so hopefully I'll be down there for at least 3 days.
Yeah.
So, but it also depends on what's happening with work and everything like that as well, because I am on call with the association that I work for, the charity.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit hard to work around sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
But it's definitely the plan to be down there for it.
Sensational. Well, we really hope you're going to bring some of your stuff along, because I reckon there'll be some people down here in the southern states who would love to see your work. So if you can stretch it, chuck some in your bag and bring it down with you.
Oh, absolutely, and it'll be even better if I get the bike going too before then too, because I'll come down on the bike rather than in the ute.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, I don't know if I'll have a table. I hope to, but on the other hand, I hope I don't, because I want to go out and talk to people and have a look at everything and everything like that. But no, I think it's going to be a good weekend. Both of them's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah. We're looking forward to both of them.
Oh, definitely.
It'd be great if I could actually get some paint on something. That'd be even better. But I've just pretty much resolved myself that my part of the hobby now is producing the kits. I don't get to paint or build. I just make the kits and send them out to guys like yourselves.
Yep.
So what is
That's
sitting
my
on
side.
your bench that you haven't finished in regard to your own personal model?
I was talking to, I can never pronounce his name, so I call him the young Roman. He was a young bloke at QMHE that was doing those sensational ML13 kits. Young fella.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to him yesterday, and I checked my CAD folder, and I have 99.9 gig worth of CAD files in there.
Oh, jeez.
That's a lot.
Now, if I cull that, it'll probably drop down to about 10. But on the bench at the moment, I am currently staring at my new version of leopard smoke discharges. So I had to fix those because I accidentally deleted the original file.
Ouch.
And needed some for a couple of sales. So I had to redraw those and redo the chains and all that kind of thing. So there's that. My 50 cal ammo in 1/35th scale, which has 2 belts of 100 rounds each, link, and spent casings. I had to redo the file for that because I lost my computer a couple of months ago. It died on me, so a few of the files become corrupted. So I'm also looking at some 1/16th scale M113 A1 footman tie downs. Which is coming out from my long tan car. I'm looking at Leopard AS1 baskets. I'm looking at water jerrys, POLs, some new, and this will come out with one of the earlier Leopards too, is the jerry can mounts on the back of the turret. So that's coming. For the guys out there that used to muck around in Australian armour in the 70s, 80s and 90s, I'm currently looking at a 1/16 and 1/35th scale 2298, 2299 and 1780, which are all part of the VIC-1 intercom system, which will be in the long tan kit as well.
Very nice.
Oh, what else have I got here? The CWS. I'm just going to throw that out of the road because I don't want to talk about it for the Abrams, and just a few other little bits and bobs. A couple of commission jobs, half a dozen Jaffle irons in 35th scale.
Perfect.
Yeah, you need that.
Which will be very exciting when they come out.
So for
wash
our
basins,
overseas
yeah.
listeners at Jaffa Line, whenever you see an Australian tank or APC, the crew have a Jaffa Line, which is this thing that you can make a sandwich in, and you cook it over an open fire.
Yeah, it's like a toasted sandwich.
Toasted sandwich maker, yeah.
That's him, Jaffa Line. So that will actually come out in two versions. You can either have the single or the double, depending on crew size.
Mm-hmm.
What else am I looking at? Oh, it's just heaps of stuff here. Heaps of stuff. Trim vanes, the MO13 and 35th and 116. Cargo hatches for 116 scale long tan car. So the long tan car, that's not too far off. I've just got to finish off the radios. And young Roman from the sunny coast is also working on some stencils for the markings for them as well.
Very good.
Cool.
Excellent.
So those will be coming out. So you'll literally be able to pick one of the 8 cars, and you'll get markings with it as well.
Yep.
It'll come as a stencil format that you spray.
Perfect.
So yeah, there's lots of stuff coming.
So Jason, if somebody wants to find you, where do they go?
I'm only on Facey, and so jump on Facebook and just search for Arms Core Models, and it'll come up.
That's 3 words.
And yep, Arms Core Models, ARMS space CORPS space MODELS. At some stage, I will have a website, but it's not a priority at the moment. So I just do everything through Facebook, and if you want to buy something from me, just send me a message, and we'll get the ball rolling.
And having some of your stuff in my stash, I can personally vouch for the quality. And having spoken to you a number of times before in the past, you're always available if you've got a question as well. So which is
And
really great
accuracy is
customer
everything
service.
to me.
Yep.
Quality and accuracy is everything. So that's why it takes me so long. Like I said, my average is about 7 test prints.
Yeah.
Before I'm actually happy with a finished product.
Yep.
Even then, it's like,
should I or shouldn't I?
I don't want to send it out, and then I get a little bit of pressure from people saying, "Hey, I want to have a real good look at it," and I'm like, I don't want to send it out because it's not ready.
Yep.
And a lot of people are sort of don't care. I want it now.
Yes.
No.
Patience.
I get a lot of emails as well about selling files. I've got a printer. Can I buy your STLs? No. Not an open hell.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just no, because I don't know what printer you've got. It might not be the same as what I've got. So my settings and my drawings may not work on your printer.
And you lose control of the actual print.
Yeah, exactly.
Too,
And next thing you know, someone else is doing it, and they're selling the printed parts on eBay, for instance, and things like that. And it's just,
you don't
or
want
they're
that.
selling the file, and So you either buy the actual physical product, or you can buy it from someone else.
Yep.
Oh, hang on, you can't, because I'm usually the only one that does it.
That's right.
But it's fun. It's fun. It's incredibly. If you want to get into 3D printing, and this is what I tell people: if you want to get into 3D printing, be prepared to be very, very, very frustrated. It's not like it was in the old days when everyone started to do their own casts from home. Casting's an art in its own, but 3D printing is an absolute nightmare at the best of times.
Yeah.
You've got to know your tolerances and all of that kind of thing, especially if you're doing your own drawings. When it comes to drawings, if you can scratch build, you can do CAD. Simple as that. It's the exact same thing. It's just a different set of tools.
Yep.
Right.
And once your mind can get around the whole idea that you're looking at a 3-dimensional object on a 2-dimensional plane, you'll be laughing.
Sounds like some good advice there.
It's fun.
Mate, we look forward to catching up with you in Brisbane at QMHE in
Absolutely.
August this year, and again down at Scale AC 25, #1000 models. And thanks for being on the show, mate. It's absolutely awesome. Don't forget, go check out Jason Miller's stuff at Arms Core Models on Facebook. And if you are into building anything Aussie, I'm sure there'll be something there that will tickle your fancy. Correct. Thanks for being on the show, mate.
No worries. And also on the Facebook page there, just one last thing too, Dave, is there's also a few hints and tips for people who want to get into 3D printing. It's all of the things that I've done wrong and how I fixed them. But great talking to you again. I will see you at QMHE and then
Canberra.
in Canberra.
Sounds like a plan.
Good on you.
Thanks very much, boys.
Cheers, mate.
See, mate.
Cheers.
Well, that's a great chat with Jason.
Yes.
Little insights and little tips and tricks as to do some printing and what to do
And his
afterwards.
stuff, it looks amazing.
Yeah, no, it is good. I've got some of his stuff, and it's well worth purchasing if you want to enhance your model to make an Aussie version of a whole range of different sort of armor pieces.
Yep.
So it's really cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah. No, it's good to catch up with him, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him again in those other two shows.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was good having a chat with him last time.
Very cool. All right, gents, so I think we need to bring it home. As I said, I'm a little bit under the weather this episode. So
you sound like crap.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, you sound better now, but earlier. Yeah.
Good second wind.
It is. Ian.
Well, I'm off to vote.
Oh, that's right. We've got federal elections on today.
Federal elections,
yes.
yeah. One Muppet against another Muppet.
Actually, this is one of my most favourite days because I get myself a nice big charcuterie board and sit down with a beer and watch the election results come in. I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I love it.
You watch the... I couldn't think of anything more boring.
I find it really, really interesting and exciting.
I couldn't think of anything more boring than to watch election results.
No, love it.
It's like watching the freaking Brownlow medal or the Daily medal.
No, love it.
Like, people that watch that, they've got no life, in my opinion.
Well,
yeah, I need to do the same. So
you need to vote.
Yeah. All right.
No worries, guys.
See you in 2 weeks.
In a fortnight. Adios.